Another Gen X story. It's October 86. I just turned 13 and I was a freshman in high school. And I had this friend in class 1C, we were 1B, so we're not in the same class, that had a Gibson and played guitar, and I was like, whoa, and I was dabbling with synthesizers. So every now and then we would meet up during the break and talk music. And later on he became the guitarist in the band that we formed. So one day, a couple of days before the autumn break, he walks up, he says like, you want to go and see this movie Crossroads? It's about this kid who's played by the Karate Kid. Okay, you already had me. Who sells his soul to the devil on the crossroads to become a blues guitar player. Okay, now I was sold. It's playing in studio in Hoog Catharijne. Now that was an issue. Because I knew that my parents wouldn't allow me to go to Hoog Catharijne. Because Hoog Catharijne back then was junkie central. Like after 8 p.m. the junks would hang on the planters. Like, heroin, need heroin. So I figured after the JB incident, my trust levels weren't back to where they were, so that they allowed me to go. So I was like, yeah, we'll go. I figured something out, I thought. And I did. Because I told my parents that I would spend the night from Saturday till Sunday at my friend's Vincent, who was in the same class, and he would come over all the time. So they were like, okay, good, fun, nice. So on that Saturday around 4 p.m. I said I was leaving for Vincent's. Actually, I cycled to the next town over, Utrecht, and waited there for my friend Marc, had some fries to eat, and he came by train all the way from Culemborg. And we go to the ticket counter. We had the tickets reserved, so we put down the money, and this chubby guy, like 17 maybe 18, here are your tickets. Thank you. So we have the early screening, 7 p.m. And we watched the movie, we loved it. But this scene blew our mind. Like, whoa! Whoa! What did he play? And Marc is like, we need to see it again. I'm going to call my mom. But I didn't have $7.50 extra to spend, and he didn't have 15 guilders, so he's like, we can sneak in. I'm like, yeah, we can hide behind these cutouts and just watch it again. Yeah. So when the movie was over, he walked to the payphone in the hall. He called his mom, like, Mom, can I stay a bit longer? Ray and I are playing here in the arcades. As long as you stay in studio, studio was the name of the theater, and you don't go hanging around, then okay. Yeah. But you be back at midnight or something and give me a call when you're leaving. Yeah. So behind the cutouts in that theater room, in that screen, the moviegoers come in, because back then we had designated seating. So if we would sit down on a reserved seat and there's an argument, the guy from the Cineplex would pick us out, So we were waiting, seating, the commercials start, we slowly, casually come out, and basically the second row was completely empty, so we sit there and we watch the movie again. Technically stealing a movie. And again, this scene comes up, and this time we're like, shut up! We're high-fiving, but now the theater is full with people, not the 4 other people that were there before us. Like, shh, shut up. So the movie is over, and we watch the credits, and we walk out, and it's somewhere around, 10:30, 10:45 p.m. And the guy that had handed us the tickets is now vacuuming the carpet. And he looks up and he goes, okay, boys, you're detained. They grab us by the arm. He pulls us into the back room. We're calling the police because we don't condone this sort of action. He had this very weird monotonous voice, like, We don't condone this sort of action. We immediately inform the police. Yeah, so we're like, we're waiting there for like only 15 minutes or something, and the police showed up. So we had to give our address and phone number and names. So I gave my real address, my real name, but I figured if I can give them a phone number that isn't going to be answered, which was my grandparents because they were in Spain for 2 months, then I might get out of this. At least my parents are not rang almost in the middle of the night. So, okay. And then they said,
Okay, Ray and Mark, you will come with us and we will call your parents.
We have sneakers, they don't. We can outrun them.
Okay, in that case, hands behind your back, boys.
Learn to shut!
yeah, my stupid joke suddenly changed the vibe. So they want to put on the cuffs. And they have a hand on my shoulder and goes like, okay, we can forsake the cuffs if you boys agree to come along and just behave. We'll behave, sir. Suddenly I wasn't macho anymore and Mark already was toned down. Like, so we walked through Hoog Catharijne. And there are all these junks, shut up on heroin. They're fucking arresting babies now! Fuck you pigs, kankerpolitie! They don't give them any notice whatsoever. I think they may have gone back after they dropped us off at Bureau Paardenveld. So we walk into Bureau Paardenveld, we're put into a little office. They hand over the papers, they left, and there's this processing officer. Okay. And he starts to give us a lesson that technically this is stealing, da-da-da-da-da, and well, that this is a matter for our parents. And he first rings Mark's mom. Now, even us being on the other side of the table and the guy on the we could hear his mom was furious. I'm like, oh God. Then he rings my number, or actually my grandparents' number. And it keeps ringing, keeps ringing, keeps ringing. And he looks and he asks, are your parents at home? I said, well, I thought they were, but I told them a lie. I told them that I was staying with a friend. And yeah, maybe they went out. Okay, then we have to try later on. So 40 minutes later or something, Mark's mom comes in and she is shouting and there is this argument and they leave and now I'm alone with this cop. And there is a lot of commotion because Saturday night, everybody is out partying. So a lot of drunk people, a lot of conflict. And there comes a point that he needs to assist. And that's a point that they need to put even a minor into this police cell, a waiting cell. And he goes like, sorry kid, I have to put you in there. I need to do my job. We will try to keep reaching your parents. Okay, sir. So this police cell has a concrete slab with a little vinyl mattress, no pillow. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to be here for a while because I knew there's no way that they're going to reach my parents. So I took off my hoodie, made a makeshift pillow and just laid there. And every 30 minutes to an hour, somebody would come in and check. And I think 2 hours later, this cop that processes us comes in with a hot chocolate and a Snickers bar.
We can't reach your parents. Is there anyone else we can call?
No, it's just my parents.
Are you sure you gave the right number?
034632281.
Now the way that I told the number, sure I know that number. It was pretty much my own number. So he was like, okay, then we have the right number. And we keep trying. And I also say like, yeah, but my parents don't have a phone right next to the bed. There's only a phone downstairs. So maybe they don't hear it. He's like, we'll try again. Okay. So the hours scroll by. Every now and then somebody comes in, has a little chat, and tells me not to worry and that everything will be fine, blah, blah, blah. They were really, really nicer than I actually deserved, to be honest. So at 6, maybe 6:30, they get me out of the waiting cell. The whole commotion, the whole busyness of the night has died down. And they take me into this little kitchen. What do you want for breakfast? And I'm like, I get to choose? Yeah, sure. We got chocolate sprinkles, cheese, ham, peanut butter. I'm like, 2 with chocolate sprinkles or 1 sandwich we basically wedged the sandwiches and the two with peanut butter. So I have basically 4 sandwiches and I'm eating them. I have a nice cup of hot tea. And then this lady brings me back to the office. And now there's another guy. And he reads through. Like, okay, so your parents can be reached. That is the phone number. 034026388. Yes, that is. Okay. So he dials the number again. No hearing. So I explained, like, yeah, my parents thought that I was spending the night with a friend. And, yeah, basically I lied to them to see this movie, blah, blah, blah. And we don't have a phone in the parent bedroom, in the master bedroom, only downstairs. Okay. We'll wait 1 more hour. We give it 1 more try. And otherwise, we will send you on your way. And I'm like, oh, cool. So I'm waiting there 1 more hour. And just in the office, you know. And they give me a magazine and just read. He came in again, dialed the number, still no hearing. Then he hands me an envelope and says,
Okay, someone walks you to your bike. You go home and hand this letter to your parents. In here, we explain what happened and that they need to call us. Is that clear, Ray?
Yes, sir.
Don't do this again. Don't let me see you here again, because then I won't be this nice. You got that?
Yes, sir.
Wait at the front desk.
now this was a problem. I had to tell my parents to call the frickin' police station. Huh. And if they wouldn't have called, I think by 3 p.m., then they would send the police from our town to come and check up if I arrived there. And so I'm like, oh, this wasn't part of the plan. Fuck. So I'm waiting at the front desk, and this lady that also took care of me in the prison cell and made my sandwiches, she walks with me and she says, okay, you need to hand this envelope to your parents as soon as you can, and they need to call us before, I believe it was 3 p.m. Otherwise, we will send a police car to check, because we need to make sure you arrived home safely and that your parents will handle this case. I'm like, yes, ma'am. So I get on my bike. It was a miracle my bike was even there at Vredenburg. A couple of years later, I parked my bike there at the same place for 2 hours and it was stolen. And I even had a flat tire and they still stole my bike. And now it was there whole night and it was still there. So I'm cycling home and I'm like, oh, I need to tell my parents I'm so fucking screwed. And I think, like, I can let my aunt call. But my aunt is a bit of a flabbermouth, so she probably will tell my mom, especially when she doesn't want to do it. My uncle, he's an Austrian. Austrians are unreliable, so let's not ask my uncle. My oldest cousin, he's 7 years older than I was, so he was begin 20. I'm like, he may do it. He may fall for it, because he is a chatty kind of guy. If there was one guy that could pull it off, it was him. So I'm begging him.
Please, 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 call the cops and tell them you'll ground me. My mom would kill me.
Okay, just this once, Ray.
And he's like, okay, come with me. So we walked from their shop to their house, which is a block over. He grabs the phone, reads the letter, dials the phone number. And there's a case number, so he had to give the case number. Okay, we'll connect you through the processing officer. And I hear the guy that just sent me on my way about 30 minutes earlier. Like, so he arrived home safely? Yes, he arrived home safely. And thank you very much for taking care of him. We are very disappointed with him. He will be grounded for a couple of weeks for sure. And my cousin is doing this whole bit like, "Whoa, awesome. Okay, now thank you for calling us. Of course, no, thank you for taking care of him. And we'll handle it from here. I'm sure you will." Oh yeah! Scot-free. Nobody found out. Ever. However, the funny thing is, in 97, when my cousin had his own store and he was starting to do things with computers, he was like, you're going to help me now? Because I can still tell your parents. So I was basically his IT slave for about a year or something. But yeah, thank God, nobody ever found out. And when I got home, my mom was like, how was it with Vincent? Oh, it was really, really cool. What did you do? Oh, I watched some movies. I didn't lie. I did watch 2 movies. So, yeah. Whew. I hope my parents don't see this video. Because they probably grab me now anyways. I hope you laughed. See you in the next one.